Hi, welcome back to another mission story read by Mrs. Wells. That's me. The map behind us has two arrows. One is from the United States, pointing toward the United States. That's where our missionary comes from, and he went to South America, to the country of Peru. And that's where our story is today from. But I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves. Our missionary is a pilot named Jack McGuckin. Colonel McGuckin went from flying missions for his country to flying missionaries and supplies for Jesus Christ. He even wrote a book called Split Second from Hell about his Marine career as a combat pilot, and your mom and dads might enjoy this book. Again, his book is called Split Second from Hell by Jack McGuckin, and I'm excited today to read you a story called The Tiger is Loose. Now, I am reading, again, from a book entitled Missionary Stories with the Millers by Mildred A. Martin. And the author writes, all of the missionary stories are about real people and based upon incidents which actually happened. Many of the details, however, have been supplied by the author's imagination. Geographical information and backgrounds of local color are authentic and true to life. And as I read through some of these stories, some of the wording was archaic, and I changed a little of it so you'd have a clearer understanding of the story. So, here we go with the tiger is loose, and I hope I don't forget what I want to show you today. The tiger cannot possibly escape from the basket, said the sergeant. Are you sure? Jack, the missionary pilot, stood beside his small plane. Pushing back his cap, he wiped a trail of sweat from his forehead and looked doubtfully at the huge wicker basket. Inside the basket, which had been made from reeds and strips of bark, crouched a fierce-looking spotted cat. The tiger was really an ocelot, a tawny South American panda. And I just wanted to show you that it wasn't a cat, it wasn't a tiger, it was an ocelot. And I've even seen an ocelot over at the Van Zandt Park Zoo. So let's continue. Oh, si, senor, the Peruvian soldier assured Jack, and his white teeth flashed in his swarthy face as he grinned. The cat will be quite safe in your plane. My basket is very strong. Jack was not enthusiastic about having a wild ocelot aboard the plane. It looked pretty mean. He was flying alone on this trip with a cargo of supplies for different mission stations. I'm already carrying 4 live chickens and 2 turtles in a box, Jack mused. This plane is turning into Noah's Ark. But Jack remembered the mission director's rule. Always cooperate with the government people wherever possible. We are in their country by permission to preach the gospel, so be courteous. Yes, I will take your tiger along and deliver her to your friend, Jack agreed, and the 2 men loaded the big basket behind a back seat. The plane skimmed lightly over the river on its pontoons and rose into the air. Jack was flying one of a small fleet of mission airplanes which soared daily over the most savage, dangerous jungles of South America. Any mistake on his part could bring his plane crashing down to vanish in the trackless expanse of jungle, where death waited in many forms. Poisonous plants, deadly snakes, man-eating fish with razor-sharp teeth, and head-hunting Indians all lurked in the thick, green rainforests. Before airplanes came to the South American missions, the missionaries and Bible translators had needed to travel on foot through the treacherous jungle trails or by small boats on the rivers. A trip to the nearest town or doctor could take 10 or 20 days of dangerous travel. But now, pilots like Jack took the same trip in an hour. This made things so much easier for the brave missionaries who were risking their lives to bring the gospel to the South American tribes. Jack whistled happily thinking about this. His hands skillfully held the controls as he peered through the plexiglass windows of the cockpit. 3,000 feet below were the lush jungles of northern Peru, with the strangely black waters of the Nanay River churning through them. Suddenly, a flurry of squawking noises erupted from the seat behind Jack. It sounded just like the noise the chickens had made on his father's farm, the time a fox had crept into their henhouse late at night. Whirling around in his seat, Jack saw that the ocelot had escaped. She was climbing over the seat, yellow eyes gleaming as she hungrily looked at the chickens. I think I'll read one more paragraph. Grabbing his canteen, Jack threw water at the big cat. Snarling, she slunk back to the luggage compartment. In just a few moments, though, she started over the seat again. Frantic, the chickens flopped their wings and fought to free their feet from the vines that tied them together. Jack hurled his empty canteen at the cat. He missed, and the ocelot pounced, landing in the seat behind the chickens. Snapping the weed vines around their feet, the panicked chickens exploded in all directions. Their wings beat against the windows and in Jack's face as the ocelot stood up on her hind legs, sharp claws swinging for a drumstick. Feathers flew everywhere. And that is where I decided to stop today, with feathers flying everywhere. I think I feel pretty sorry for the chickens. And I hope the ocelot wasn't too hungry. Poor Pilot Jack. So I want you to come back next week and hear what happened to the ocelot, Jack, and I want you to think, why might God have allowed the ocelot to escape from the basket when Jack was flying his plane? God had a purpose. Come back next week and hear the end of the story.